All right. C1x report. Not C1x report. I've been quite out of it. C1x Road to launch. Day, I don't know. Let's go with 34. 34 feels good. It's been a number of days since my last video. Definitely the longest I've gone since starting building C1x at all, which was the, not Road to launch, but me building the alpha version of the app. And that was due to a couple things. One, I was traveling, so it was just tougher to record these anyways. I've also been a little burnout on, not burnout. I haven't been burnt out on coding C1x. I've been burnt out on the idea of building this watch app, which I don't think is going to be super hard. Done some research into how I'm going to build that through Flutter. I've built couple Apple Watch apps before through Swift. It's going to work a little bit differently in Flutter. Trying to do it for both watchOS on the Apple side and Wear OS on the Android side. I'm also in the middle of a career change. Actual, what my full time job is, and that's a decision on my shoulders at the moment. It feels fairly important. It's kind of taken a mental focus for me over everything else, C1X included. So haven't been doing a lot with it. All that to say that the C1X development has been a little slow. I kept up the C1X reports for Ledgestone over the weekend. I still haven't done the final round one. It's Tuesday at the time that I'm recording this. I'm going to do a C1X report for the final round. After I finish filming this, I typically wait on the final rounds because I want to watch the coverage of the final round. I don't want to spoil it for me. But I only held out for 2 days, and then YouTube went ahead and spoiled it for me anyways. So a little bit of a bummer. But kept up the C1X reports for the most part. At least you can see the, I guess the 3 rounds here from rounds 1 through 3 at Ledgestone. But in this video, the goal is going to be to finish getting C1X ready for launch. I do still have the goal. It's Tuesday of submitting C1X to Apple and Google for review by Thursday. And it's pretty much there. While I was traveling, I did take some notes over a number of minor changes, tweaks, etc. that I wanted to add into C1X before launch. I put together some descriptions for each of these stats. We're going to get into incorporating those. I have an idea for how to do that. But the goal is basically going to be to finish mobile, launch it, and then try to grow that for a little bit. The watch app is definitely first thing on my to-do list once C1X launches, but I think I personally need a little bit of a buffer in between the two, especially as I figure out what I'm actually going to do for work. And maybe that change means that I won't be working on C1X very much. Maybe it means I'm going to have all the time in the world to do it. I really don't know right now. I've got a few days, I think, to make that decision, and it's a coin toss at the moment as to which way I'm going to go. So, anywho, we got a few things that I'm going to try and tackle today. Probably not going to be a super long video. I'm not going to finish things today, but at least get the ideas in here for it. So, watch version is going to drop down in the priority list a little bit. Clean up entire code base. That's going to be right before submitting for review. I want to verify that the database is working. I do have the latest version of C1X, which is version 0.0.6 on my phone for my own personal testing. So what I'm going to hope to do is get this stuff taken care of, and then as I'm submitting C1X to Apple and Google for launch, I'm going to push version 6 out to all the testers. And then that might sit for 2 or 3 weeks. I want a little bit of time to build up to a marketing launch of sorts for C1X. I don't know how I'm going to do that. That's something kind of on my to-do list this week, is to figure out what I'm going to do for launch. But yeah, so I think that this is probably my current priority here. Current priority list. Probably, I won't necessarily move it above it. I am probably going to go ahead and typically when I travel, sometimes I don't even take my laptop with me at all, but I've got a writing notebook that I will use for a lot of my project brainstorming, and I've got a page with all the notes of stuff that I wanted to fix, change, debug, etc. in C1x. So we're going to just type those out right now. Radial graphs at the top of the route summary view should less full between 90 and 100%. Convert throws versus putts to putts versus throws. Wanted to flip the order on that. Don't show confirm on change distances until at least one value has been changed. So most of these are really minor. They're going to get knocked out really quick. But things that I think just would be a nice step towards a little bit more of a finished product. I want to, said it so many times, I have my to add later list, which includes so many features for the mobile app, but I really want to, I guess, prove that even just the base version of C1x is an app that people want to use. If I can verify that, get a little product market fit feel from the app, then I might start to dive into that to add later list. But right now I just want to get what I have in C1x to a fully finished, I feel great about it, ready to go. And this was the last step, was just going through all of the views in this latest version and noting minor changes that I saw. So show current. This is probably not the most exciting, me just typing things out, but important nonetheless. Location. With some indication. And a button to revert the round name back to course name. Button underneath the set. Add color themes to add later list. That's what I could probably just do right now. Well, I think I'm gonna have a couple of them actually, so we'll add them here and then I can do them later. Hint text on all rounds should say search by round main course. Buttons on scorecard view, offset, pressed, and distances on field. My handwriting's bad enough that sometimes it's a little hard for me to read it. Okay. So that was my list of debugging items. All 22 of them. Let's go ahead and do the 2 add later ones real quick. So one of them was going to be color themes. New app color themes to be used across the board. Okay, what else we got? Adjust all putting distances to meters, ability to reorder courses. Implement changes to putting distances, all distance ranges or specific values in meters if selection is metric. And then implement the ability to reorder the user's course list. Okay. To add later, reorder courses, adjust all putting distances. Okay. So I think I'm good there. Next up was going to be this explanation for all stats in the app. So currently on, I guess around summary view is where I have it right now. I just have the little question mark button that if I tap that, it pulls up this summary, which was more so based on what I had down here. The graphics don't quite line up. It's just something that was in the alpha version and has just been left in. I haven't touched it since. You can see I don't even have the new button style in there. And I knew I was going to want to change those descriptions anyways, but I wanted to see how this view was going to finally settle. So now that I have all the new stats, I think it's worth going in and changing. But I was thinking about how I wanted to implement this. My first idea was, well, I'll just keep the dialogue. I'll update this list. My new thought is that instead I'll just make each stat or each graphic tappable. I think that would be good. So like you just tap anywhere on this and it pops up a description. I think that could be nice. And then my idea was that I already have this stat organization structure. So to each one of these, I add a description. And then I just update a description here. If that makes sense. I think stat graphic config, if I go to my stat display infographic, so my thought here was that essentially this is for all graphics. I'm calling this padding widget. I could just wrap this in a gesture detector and then call the description here. So I could, in principle, add descriptions for all of these and then drop them down below. I think I like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, also in my little writing notebook here, I've got my little stat descriptions written out. So I think I'm going to start by adding those in here. It is largely only for the stats that I thought needed it. And one thing that's not included here is the grading, round grading description, which is okay. It's not a problem. Trying to think if there's any other way I should be going about this. I don't think so. Icon color 1, icon color 2. Keys. Key label type. Stat graphic config. Okay. So rounds played does not get a description. We're going to have a final string description. Let's call it explanation. I think I like that better. This dot explanation is equal to that. Okay. It's not required, but it's there. Round grade is not an option. So we'll have to add that one separately. Maybe I just add that here. We go static const round grade. Explanation is equal to static const average round grade. Something like that. Yes, this is also largely just going to be me typing stuff out, so apologies for that, but that's what we got to do. All right, so next up was the whole, yeah, well, this is kind of tough. The whole breakdown is also separate. This may not be the best way to go about this. I'm thinking. Trying to make this as scalable as possible. And I'm thinking, because I wanted to add it as an argument in these, but not all of them are going to have it. I have stats like the round grading that are, it's just like the graphic description doesn't always directly correlate to one of these items. Or any of these items sometimes, or a combination of 6 of these items, or Maybe I just add the descriptions to these directly. That may not be the worst. I need to add graphics though too. Ugh. So I wanted to add the description, but then I also wanted to add a little picture of the graphic. Maybe that's excessive right now. So I want every time a graphic is tapped, I want it to pop up a description. It doesn't necessarily need to include a picture, I guess. So maybe I can get away with just a single description. How do I... What's the syntax for multi-line strings in Dart? Okay. I guess we roll with this for the time being. Static const whole break explanation is equal to it's not what I wanted to do. No, screw you. Does that cause issues? I don't actually know. All right. Then right indicate rough a arrow upwards indicates fairway. Orange indicates landing areas for a circle from the outside. The outside ring being C2, inside ring C1, and a small dot being part. Okay. C1 and C2 indicate the number of putts attempted from each Okay. Scramble is saving par or better. Going in the rough penalty area. Might be prudent to just copy and paste these into ChatGPT and see if it'll do a little spelling and grammar check for me. At the end, blank if last row is indicates the number penalty strokes taken up hole. Okay. So that's my whole breakdown explanation. Quite long, but I wonder if I actually process this as an array, and then I just have a general widget that just says for each item in the array. Could be an option. Could be an option. I might just do that right now. I think that's actually going to be the move. At least makes my formatting all look a little bit better. Okay. Now we're on to these explanations. Description. Or no, it's not. I called it explanation. Explanation. Percentage of putts from each respective distance range. Distance range indicates all putts between all C1 putts outside of the bullseye. Okay. Driving. Percentage of success at each driving stat. Par 3. B. C2 or better. Fairway hit. Because what my driving stats here in regulation. And regulation, maybe I want this to be its own. Yeah. Make them all arrays. this. Okay, and then I want to add a comma here. In regulation means in C2 or C1 par minus 2 strokes. Parked is inside of 11 feet, 3 meters. Is that a good conversion? 11 feet, 2 meters. 3.35. Rather, the explanations have a little bit too much detail than not enough. All right, hole scoring. I did not have an explanation for this one just because I do think that is very, very basic. Explanation. What was that? Percentage of strokes taken a round that were putts, throws. Putting distances. Explanation. Percentage of putting attempts from each respective distance range. Scramble. Percentage of successful scrambles versus opportunities. Bounce back after taking a bogey or worse. Percentage of time the user better on the next hole. Birdie conversions. Percentage of time taking a birdie after reaching C1 and regulation. C2. Penalty rate, percentage of holes in which a stroke was taken. Okay, I think that's all of them for this. Oh, putting comebacks. Did I miss putting comebacks? Putting comebacks. After missing a putt in C2 or closer, percentage of time that the very next putt was made, regardless of distance. Okay. Penalty strokes, number of total number of penalty strokes taken. Number of C2 putts made minus number of C1 putts missed. Does that look stupid? Yeah, it does. Indicates which half of the course the user scored. It sits in the middle if the front and back front half score equals the back half score. All right, streaks. Most consecutive C1x putts made, birdies, and bogey-free holes. All right. This is that scatter plot. Plots the frequency of the score to par for each included round. Scores to par are along the x-axis, and number of occurrences is along the y-axis. Y-axis. Total strokes up here. Where was that at? Total strokes. Summation. Total number of strokes taken over all included rounds. Should be pretty straightforward, but just to make that one real clear. Whoa. Alright, and then my average round grade of all included rounds. The grade of each round is on a scale of from 0 to 10, and looks at driving stats, putting stats, and course difficulty. The A division grade is assigned based on the average value. Okay. All right, so that is all of my explanations. Now, I need to do this in a widget. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give this to ChatGPT. I use the below code to iterate over a list of stat graphics. Have have an argument called explanation that I will be passing to this. This explanation explains whatever the graphic is that the stat widget factory produces. What I want to do is wrap the padding or stat widget factory, makes more sense, in a gesture detector and show an alert dialog with the explanation whenever each graphic is tapped. Explanation is a list string, and the dialog will need to show a line for each string in the list. Sometimes only one, sometimes multiple. Show me where I should wrap the widget with a gesture detector, including what I need to do to show and dismiss smoothly, and create a widget for taking the explanation as an argument and displaying it in an alert dialog. All right, let's see what I can do with that. Done with my my coffee now, so I'll stop slurping on that. All right, so we're going to throw this here. Slide. I'm just going to move this so I can see the whole screen again. We're going to wrap the widget factory in the gesture detector. Gesture detector. On tap, we're going to show this. Only bottom padding. Is not empty. And explanation 0 is not equal to that. Okay. Then we're going to show it. And then this is what I'm looking for here. Let's call this a stat explanation dialog. Alert dialog. Background color. App theme colors. For now, this needs to be page background colors. Dot alert dialog background. Scrollable will be true. like that text button. Secondary button. Can I get away with that? I have screen width. Okay, maybe we do a double screen width, final double screen height. Dismiss. Okay. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get screen height to it. Yeah. Screen width. Yeah, and I'm gonna have to do the same thing here. Final double screen height, which is okay. Okay. So that's a start. Got to update these calls here. Screen height of height. Same thing here. And then this should be something similar. Yeah. All right, perfect. So now they all should have explanations with the exception of the round grading. I think that is the only stat that is not a part of this. Everything else should be good down here. Oh, and the whole breakdown. The whole breakdown. Just these three right here. Okay. And so with those, I just need to wrap them in the same gesture detector, right? So we can start with the all stats. Factor, wrap with the widget, gesture detector. Let's go here, give me this. What did I just copy? I missed the on tap. There we go. Explanation, this is going to be stat organization, average stat organization, average round grade explanation. Okay, so we've got one down. Let's go to the round display view and do the same thing with that. That one is higher up, above the icon button, above this C1x gauge right here. gesture detector. That's going to be the on tap, and this one is going to be round grade explanation. And then at the very bottom here, I need to wrap this build whole score summary. Or no. No, I don't. It's not this. It's this that I need to wrap. Not going to wrap anything on that view just yet. But let's go. Well, maybe. TBD. Above the stat display infographic scoreboard row. This is what I would need. So we're going to wrap each child with the gesture detector on tap. And then this will be the whole breakdown explanation. Okay, let's just do a reset, see where we're at there. See where we're at. Let's start with the all stats view. Okay, so it's working. It is working. Does not look good, but it is working. All right, so here, let's grab this same style and let's drop it in here. They should probably have a title, shouldn't they? Man. They should. They should have a title. Okay. And then this will be explanation title. Not a const. 25. Let's align it in the center. Let's wrap this in a center. Let's up the size here to 20. No, we'll stick with 25 first. We'll see how that looks. And I guess let's start passing titles. Static const round grade explanation title. C1x round grade. Average round grade. Grade, and then whole break down explanation title, and this one I'll call whole breakdowns, just to pass the titles there. And then for every single one of these, explanation title, heading stats, driving stats, yep, nothing there, title, cuts, vertical. versus throws. I think once I get all these roughly in here, I'm probably going to call it for the video today. But these stat explanations were going to be the biggest chunk of what I had left. The rest of that list should go pretty quick, but putting distances. Other stats. I could. This is quite stupid, actually. I should just pass the title. We'll keep them separate just in case I want to call them something else. This one I do. Other percentage stats. Explanation title. Penalty strokes. Explanation title, total strokes. Average strokes whole. Comma. C2 bonus stat. Front 9 versus back 9 is good. Longest streaks, yeah, I do like that. Score distribution. Okay. That works just fine. And then here we'll go explanation title. Explanation title. Okay. And then here, explanation title, stat organization dot average round explanation title. Okay. So we've got all stats covered. Round display. This one, what am I looking at right now? This is the scoreboard row. So this is the whole breakdown, explanation title. And then this one will be round grade explanation title. Okay, let's do a reset there. We'll again check out the all stats first. So nothing here. Do I not have the text centered already? I don't, I just have do you think I'm going to go bigger with both these? I will probably leave this as is. Let's just update this. And then, yeah. Maybe now I do want it to be centered. Is that too big? It's probably better. Then do I want to get rid of this? What is the justify line? I don't. Ah. That's terrible. Okay. Noted. Can't decide which looks better. I feel like that does. Okay. I think I'll probably roll with this. Driving stats, nothing on hole scoring. Throws versus putts. Putts versus. Any glaring spelling or grammar issues in these strings? Upward arrow. That's what I already had. It's given. Signed. So it's not giving me anything there. Let's see about this whole list. But about below. Explanation and explanation title. Each distance range, okay. close range. C1x is all C1, that's outside the bullseye. Driving stats. Success for each driving stat. Reaching. Reach. C2 or better. To count as a fairway hit in regulation means reaching. C2 or C1. Quit. Parked means inside 11 feet. Par minus 2 strokes, okay. Putts versus throws taken during a round. Throws. Percentage of putting attempts. Yeah, I already took perspective out of that one. Let's just explanation. Hold, percent of birdies, after reaching regulation, after missing a putt, C2 close. So main regardless distance, or about these strokes taken. Okay. Total strokes. Where's that at? Total strokes taken. Cross percentage of total number of strokes across all included rounds. Strokes per hole. Per hole. Thinks that's better. All right, fine. Front 9, back 9. Looks good. Longest streaks, final score distribution. I had a misspell there, it looks like. There. Okay. So we got all the spelling and grammar out of the way. Let's keep going through these. Okay. Did I add a period on that one? Not. Let's have the period there. Make sure I've got them on all of these. Period. Okay. Let's do a quick reset and we'll go look at the round display. And then I need to take that example one away as well. So nothing here currently. Tap this. Let's get a little bit of consistency there. I have it broken up on the average, so we'll do it for the single round as well. Okay, and then all of these should essentially be the same. Okay. Only other thing I'm thinking of now is whether or not I want to add the explanations to these two. What do I call here? That's scoreboard row, stat display, infographic. And then up here it is round infographic content. Round infographic. So I mean, I definitely could. Certainly could add them. Wonder if that messes up the share thing at all. We can take a look at that real quick. Scoring segment bar. Bouncing scroll physics. This is my whole breakdown. Build whole score summary. Still further down. This is what I need. So then in principle, I already have this broken out as is for sharing. Small ring radio chart is for sharing. I fit both of them. Else I just do one at a time. Okay, this actually works better. So we'll just wrap this in the gesture detector. Do the same thing here. Detector. And then let's go here. Let's grab the on tap. Throw this here. All right, stat explanation dialog. Explanation here, the first one should be stat organization dot. Oh yeah, this will be interesting. Maybe I just copy this. Maybe this is the easiest approach here at the moment. Okay, is equal to that. Screen width, screen height. Do I never get screen height as an argument here? Explanation title. fix that too to be this. I never get screen height. Okay, let's just copy paste this down here. We'll get it set up for driving stats, and then here. All right, and then this is driving. So let's grab that and paste my driving stats. And then I need to just get screen height passed to this as an argument. Final double screen height. Required screen height. So that one's now good, and now we just need to update the call here to include screen height. We'll do it at the end. Let's copy and paste. And let's do a reset. Make sure I didn't break anything there. So that was just adding explanations for these two. Make sure that still works. Nothing here. That is interesting. So the way I built these is that this is one graphic, this is one graphic. All right, let's simplify this then. var putting stats explanation, putting stats explanation title, not var, static const driving stats explanation, driving stats explanation title. Explanation is going to be this for putting. Driving is going to be this. And then they should have just been putting stats and driving stats, yeah. Copying and pasting just so I don't introduce any additional typos here. Okay, so I have those. Now we're going to use these. Explanation. Putting stats explanation title. Driving stats explanation. Driving stats explanation title. All right, so I'm not changing anything there, but the reason I'm trying to do this here is that now on this gesture detector here, I'm wondering if I can make my explanations I can tie them both together. I can show the full stats for all of them. I wonder if I can do the title, if I can do like stat organization putting stats plus driving stats title. If that works. Sure. And then explanation here. How do I combine a list string and another list string into just a longer list string in a single line of code? Come on. No answer here? Come on, what are we doing? Oh, it's taking so long. I created those two variables. I just want to combine them into a single array. Well, I think once I can do this, I'm done. So trying to make it so that when I tap on one of these, it shows both the putting and the driving stats. Here we go. Okay, that should be easy enough then. So this can be stat organization dot putting stats explanation plus stat, driving stats. All right, let's do a quick reset, see if that worked. And then we will probably call it for this video. So that's going to be the end of our implementing explanations for all of the stats in the app. Trying to put a little ampersand in here. Why is that? Why is that not centered? Is the spacing messing with it? I can't tell. It's not. Why is that happening? Text align, everything is centered. Is this being weird? If I... Yeah, okay. That wasn't doing anything for me to begin with, but... That par-2 is probably a little confusing. So I'm thinking that driving stats. There we go. Let's do that. That might look a little bit cleaner. And then probably call it good there for the day. Par minus 2 strokes. And then these should still be good. Okay. Oh, and then last thing, let's get rid of this. This is our new explanation. It's not the back button, not the date, not the edit button, all the way down here. Not the share button, but this guy. This is, I mean, I guess I'll just comment it out for now. I could probably just go ahead and straight delete it, but just in case. Beautiful, one less button up there. Do one last check on these. They should be good. Based on let's try just the I wonder what happens if I like scroll down and hit share. That shouldn't change anything, but just to be safe, never hurts. Let's go check photos, make sure that I didn't do anything that messes up the share function here. Northwood Black. Nope. Looks as it should. Not great, but as it should. So let's go back. Okay, so stat explanations are done, which was originally the end of my to-do list for launch. We have this new list of minor bug fixes to work through, but explanations for stats are all in the app. And then part of my to-do list is, did I add that to my to-do list yet? Let's double check. If not, I'll add it right now. Alright, that's done. Order of appearance. Include some more graphics. It should say that. I don't think I did yet. Alright, so add a note in the tutorial indicating that the user can tap on stats to get an explanation. Let's go, should I be consistent and just make sure that every graphic has an explanation? That probably wouldn't hurt, right? I don't think that needs one. But I will do one for whole scoring. Whole scoring. That should be good. And then here, percentage of scores to par for all holes and around. Does that make sense? Percentage of scores to par for all holes and around. I think so. That might have been the only one that I didn't already have an explanation on. includes all rounds if in the all stats view. Is that silly? Yeah, I don't think I want that. Percentage of scores to par for all. I don't want to say anything like all included holes, because if you're on like the single round summary, that just sounds weird. Like, is this... in A rounds, percentage of scores to par for all holes in A round. I think that's fine. I mean, especially if users are really trying to dig into these stats, they'll notice immediately that the second they filter to something different, the whole scoring changes. Right, so I think I'm going to leave that as is for now. Does every single one of these have an explanation? They should, yeah. Okay, now I think I'm done. I think that was the only graphic I had that didn't have an explanation already. I'm not going to add an explanation for this box up here. That's easy enough, and I'm not going to add explanations for this stuff. Pretty simple. This is the only one that's kind of iffy, and I've got the explanations in there now. We removed the graphic, so I think I'm good. I think we're going to call it there for these explanations. Let's check that off. And in the next video, we're going to be rolling through these items. This is probably 1 to 2 videos-ish. We'll see how long they take. They'll probably end up being 2 videos. But, I mean, the goal is to knock these out and submit C1x for launch by Thursday. Probably on Thursday. I want to verify that my backend is working for the little bit of data tracking I have just on round statistics. That'll be pretty easy. I've already got the latest version of C1x on my phone, which includes logging those stats. So I should just be able to do a couple things in the app on my phone and then check the values in the database and make sure that they're incrementing as they should. But it's this list, it's that little verification step, and then it's going through and just cleaning up all these comments, which are all, that'll take me 10 minutes to clean those up. It's a lot of unused imports, don't use print, random stuff that I would just clean up before actually releasing an app. So yeah, that'll wrap it up for the video today. I'm going to film the C1x report right after this for the final round at Ledgestone, get that up. And then hopefully 2 more videos and C1x is done for mobile, at least launch version 1. At that point, I will probably take a little bit of a breather. Probably still do a video periodically, just some minor updates here or there. I'll slowly start clawing my way through the watch app, but gonna need a few days at least. Probably a few days is an understatement. Probably at least a week. So we'll be back with another video. There might be a buffer coming at some point where I take a break, but we'll see how I feel. So that is going to wrap it up for this road launch video for C1x. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.